This is a SnapEd New York video presentation.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Rowe, and I'm the Senior Content Manager of the Nutrition Education Department at City Harvest.
Hi, my name is Sophia Guillory, and I'm a Nutrition and Culinary Education Manager at City Harvest as well. And we are SNAP educators for the SNAP education program in New York City for City Harvest.
Welcome to Cooking Matters at the Store, brought to you by Shira Strength and City Harvest.
Today we're here at the Bronx, New York at Fine Fare Supermarket. Our goal today is to show you guys how to make healthier choices at the supermarket while watching your food dollars.
And a couple of tips just before you start actually shopping is to remember to actually shop the perimeters of the store. That's where you find the things that you actually need. And don't shop hungry. Can you guess what two fruits are available all year round and affordably priced? If you guessed apples and bananas, you are absolutely correct. Apples and bananas are available all year round and always affordably priced. Varying your fruits and vegetables will ensure that you'll get the nutrients and all the vitamins that your body needs. Oftentimes people ask, which form is best? Should I buy fresh? Should I buy frozen? Should I buy canned? To be honest, there's no best. Each form has its benefits. For instance, fresh is great, right? But sometimes it can be expensive, and if you don't use it in a certain amount of time, you can lose it. The benefits of frozen fruits and vegetables is they are frozen upon harvest, which means that all of the nutrients and vitamins that are in them are still there when they're frozen. The other good thing about frozen fruits and vegetables is you get to use them in shakes and smoothies, and also you can use them in desserts. Canned, always a good option for like soups or if you're in a rush. The only thing you have to worry about with frozen and canned foods is to check the amount of sodium and sugar that might have been added. It's always best just to get the product in its natural form. Frozen corn, frozen string beans, without the additives.
So pre-cut vegetables and convenience foods like baby carrots and other pre-washed salads tend to be more expensive than rather getting the whole form. So what we have to do is if we're looking at these pre-cut peppers, we look at the unit price. And then if we look at the whole form, we have to look at the unit price. So when we're comparing unit prices, we notice that the whole form ends up being less expensive. If you're lactose intolerant or cannot consume dairy, this is a great way to catch up on your calcium by consuming leafy greens like spinach, broccoli, or maybe kale. And the key idea, we really want to eat the rainbow. So the big question is, why whole grains, or what exactly is a whole grain? So a whole grain contains all part of the plant and as well all the nutrients that the plant originally has. And then as well, how to determine if something's a whole grain, we must go to the first word of the ingredients and must say whole wheat. Looking at this bread, we see it's 100% whole wheat bread. And then when we turn it over to check out the ingredients, we see the first word says whole wheat flour. So we know that this is definitely a whole grain. And now we're looking at this honey wheat bread. So maybe it is a whole grain. So I'm gonna check out the first word in the ingredients. And we see that it actually says unbleached enriched flour. So actually, it's really not a whole grain. It's really just like white bread.
So Sophia, what are we really looking for when we're talking about purchasing breakfast cereals?
So this is such a great question. There's actually three things that we kind of should look out for. So we want to look at the sugar content. We also want to go back to the ingredients to see if that first word says whole grain. So I'm going to pick out a cereal right here, and I'm also going to pick out this one too. And I'm going to look at the ingredients and also look at the sugar content and then the unit price. So when we're looking at the sugar content, I see that this says 12 grams of sugar. And what does this say?
This says 2 grams of sugar.
Wow, so that's a really big difference. And then if we look right to the ingredients, we want to see what the first word says. This one says whole grain corn.
Whole grain oats.
So they technically are both, these are both a whole grain, but the thing is that this has a lot more sugar than that does. We're really looking for anything that says corn syrup, sugar, brown sugar, molasses, or anything that ends in an ose.
Wow, I can see how people can get confused. There are so many different choices. And the other thing that I'm noticing is how all of the really sweet cereals are at eye level for children. So you know how they get. when they come into the store. They're like, Mommy, buy me this, buy me that. So another great choice for breakfast cereals would be oatmeal. It's healthy, it's affordable, and it's delicious. And what kind of oatmeal should you get? You've got several types to choose from. So we have here 1 minute quick, we have old fashioned, and we also have the steel cut. So out of these three choices, I would do the steel cut and I would also do the old fashioned. So you're probably saying, well, how do I sweeten it? Do I use honey? Do I use regular sugar? Do I use syrup, pancake syrup? No. The better choice would be just to get a fruit like bananas, strawberries, blueberries. You can put them onto your cereal. It also helps to increase your fruit intake for the day. Bulgur and corn grits are also good breakfast cereals, but remember that breakfast can be that leftover soup from last night's dinner too. Mix it up. When we talk about consuming beverages, water is at the top of the line. It's so healthy for your body. Consuming at least 64 ounces a day can make such a big difference. Did you know that water actually helps to lubricate the joints, helps to form saliva, helps you to maintain a healthy body temperature and even a healthy blood pressure? Also helps to boost your skin.
So now we're at the fruit juice aisle. Consuming fruit juice is totally fine. We just want to make sure we're having 100% fruit juice. So looking at two different ones, that one is 100% and other is not. The 100% one has 23 grams of total sugar, and actually there is no added sugar. So this is completely natural sugar. But looking at the other one, we see that it's total sugar of 16 grams, but 15 grams is added. So this one is kind of one we want to stay clear of. Okay, so now we're at the dairy section. And the big question is, why should we be consuming dairy? Dairy actually contains healthy nutrients like calcium, potassium, and also vitamin D and protein that we need for our diet. But actually, if you can't really consume dairy, or maybe you're lactose intolerant, you can get these key nutrients from leafy greens, fortified non-dairy milks, and also fortified cereals. So when picking out dairy items, we really want to watch out for the fat content and also the sugar content. So as we look over here, we have a non-fat option, and as well, we're gonna get, just to grab another one that maybe has some more sugar in it. So if we're looking at this, we see that it has about 0 grams of fat, which is actually great. And then if we look at this one has 1.5 grams of fat, which isn't too bad either, but then we're looking at the sugar content. This one has 6 grams of sugar, and this one actually has 24 grams of sugar. So that's a significant difference. A healthy eating pattern contains low fat or fat-free milk, cheese, yogurt, and fortified soy beverages. When looking at these canned beans, we want to make sure we're looking for low sodium or no sodium at all. So we want to make sure we check the ingredients. Let's say if it's black beans, just black beans and water. Now, also another thing we could think about is unit pricing. Yes, canned beans are definitely a great option to save money, but if you want to save even more money, you can get dried beans, and it will be even less expensive when looking at the unit price.
Let's talk about protein. Here we are in our meat section. The most important thing to remember, though, is to vary your proteins. Lean meats, seafood, beans, soy, nuts, and seeds. So when we talk about ground meat, for instance, we want to be able to look at the meat, and the more red it is, means the less fat that it actually contains. And that's what you want to do. All right? If you can't find lean ground beef at your local supermarket, you can always go to your butcher and let him cut stew beef for you, because it's always going to contain less fat. Also, the other way that you can tell is the amount of fat as it marbles inside of your meat. So the less marbling that you actually see, that means that it's more lean, as opposed to something like this. So let's go over here to our ground turkey section. You always want to look for 93% lean. Seafood is always a healthy choice. Salmon is one of my favorites. For a more affordable choice, you can choose frozen fish, or even canned fish is a good idea. Did you know that salmon, canned salmon, is a wonderful choice? It actually includes the bones, which is loaded with calcium. When purchasing fresh fish, there are a few things that you should look at, right? Because you want to know it's fresh. First one being when you touch it. When you actually touch it, it should bounce back. See that? If there was an indent left, that would mean that the fish is on the older side. This one is perfect though. Also, you want to be able to look at the eyes. The eyes should be clear, shouldn't be bloody or cloudy. Seafood actually reduces the risk for heart disease and is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. We really hope that you enjoyed today's tour and learned some helpful tips for the next time that you visit the supermarket.
And please visit cityharvest.org/cook to find free nutrition education courses. And you also can find more helpful resources at snaped.org.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We know the healthy choice isn't always the easiest choice, but small changes can make a big difference. Start today by getting involved with SNAP Ed New York. This program is free for those who qualify or receive SNAP benefits. We want to help you save time, save money, and eat healthy. Learn how SNAP Ed can make a difference in your life. For more information and to find your local program, visit snapedny.org. This material is funded by USDA's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. SNAP. This institution is an equal opportunity provider.